You know the feeling. You spend hours at your desk cramming for an exam or a major presentation. But when you finally sit down and stare at the blank page in front of you, your mind goes completely blank. We usually respond to this panic by reading and rereading our notes until the text feels comfortable. But this comfort is deceptive. Rereading creates an illusion of competence, a false sense of familiarity that instantly falls apart the moment you have to generate the answer yourself from scratch. The mistake we make is treating the human brain like a digital hard drive. We try to drag and drop text files into our memory just by staring at them. But the truth is, the brain is organic hardware. To actually create a permanent memory, you have to physically alter that hardware. You have to guide the information through 3 specific biological phases: encoding, consolidation, and retrieval. Mastery occurs when you stop viewing study as a test of willpower and begin treating it as a mechanical, biological engineering project. Once you understand the organic machinery, you can control it. It starts with encoding, the phase where new information physically enters the brain's network. Before you even open a book, your brain needs the right infrastructure. When you exercise, your body produces a ketone that triggers the release of a protein called BDNF. This acts like a chemical fertilizer, stimulating the rapid growth of new neural pathways. With those pathways primed, learning requires toggling between 2 cognitive states. First is focused thinking. This is your intense, conscious concentration, like a tight, narrow laser beam illuminating a single, sequential path of neurons to solve a specific problem. But you cannot maintain that intense focus indefinitely. You have to switch to diffuse thinking. This is the relaxed, subconscious processing that happens when you step away from your desk. The author Virginia Woolf described this state as her mind throwing up ideas and memories from its depths like a spurting fountain. It allows your brain to cast a wide net, connecting a new, narrow concept to broad, seemingly unrelated ideas. Strategic breaks, like walks or showers, satisfy a biological requirement, providing the subconscious the space to bridge gaps that focused effort cannot reach. If you stay strictly in the focused mode, you block the diffuse mode from doing its job. Without that initial wash of BDNF from physical movement, and without alternating between intense focus and wandering rest, new information simply lacks the biological tools it needs to anchor into your cortex. Once the information is encoded, you enter the second phase, consolidation. Throughout your waking hours, everything you experience strengthens synapses across your cortex. This constant potentiation comes with a massive biological cost. It drains your metabolic energy, physically crowds your gray matter, and quickly saturates your capacity to hold anything else. To fix this, your brain relies on a mechanism called the synaptic homeostasis hypothesis. During deep, slow-wave sleep, your brain initiates a global downscaling. It actively shrinks and weakens the synapses across your entire neural network. By lowering the baseline strength of everything, the weak, useless background noise of your day fades away entirely. What remains are the strong, targeted neural loops you actively studied. They survive the downscaling, now standing out clearly against a quiet background. While this editing happens, a second maintenance crew gets to work. The brain's astroglia cells actually shrink, expanding the space between them. This allows cerebrospinal fluid to rush through the brain's glymphatic system, physically washing out toxic metabolic waste products, like amyloid beta, that built up during the day. These hours represent an aggressive cycle of structural maintenance, where the brain edits its connections and clears its channels to preserve the day's most important work. With a clean, consolidated brain, you arrive at the final phase, retrieval. This is where you permanently lock the information into place using active recall and spaced repetition. Active recall means closing the book and forcing yourself to fetch the information from memory. When you feel that frustrating struggle to remember a fact, you are experiencing the testing effect. That exact physical struggle is the mechanical trigger that thickens the neural pathway and makes the memory stick. This chart shows the forgetting curve, mapping how naturally and predictably our memories fade over time. You can exploit this decay through spaced repetition. By forcing yourself to retrieve the information right as you are on the verge of forgetting it, you create a sharp spike in retention. Each time you do this, the forgetting curve flattens out a little more, yielding long-term retention for minimal effort. There is, however, a biological enemy to this process: cortisol. If you are chronically stressed, a delayed spike in this stress hormone literally barricades the hippocampus. It physically impairs your brain's ability to access stored memories right when you need them most. That feeling of struggle marks the crossing of a desirable difficulty threshold, the physical requirement for building a memory. Provided you manage your baseline stress, these difficult sessions ensure data remains accessible. When you put all this together, mastering your memory comes down to pulling the right biological levers to force physical adaptation. First, break a sweat before you study to flood your hippocampus with BDNF. Then, do the actual work by alternating between intense, focused sprints and relaxed, diffuse breaks, allowing the concepts to properly link together. Third, abandon passive reading. Test yourself constantly. Use active recall and spaced repetition to trigger the testing effect and flatten the forgetting curve. Fourth, ruthlessly protect your deep sleep so your brain can downscale the noise and wash out the waste of the day. And finally, manage chronic stress to keep cortisol out of the hippocampus. When you respect the organic hardware inside your skull, you stop fighting against your own biology. You move from simply memorizing a subject to mastering the organic machinery that allows you to learn anything.